Definitely. Good. There we
Okay.
go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Thank you for jumping on today. I think it's huge. It's funny because I was telling myself I don't always, and I felt like I sound like, what is that? The Dos Equis man. I don't always jump on to the morning motivational minutes, but when I do, I'm really glad that I do. It's kind of like going to the gym. I don't always go to the gym, but when I do, I'm glad that I did. So thank you guys for logging on, and thank you so much, Joe, for letting us interview you this morning.
Sure.
So this is my first time leading this, so we'll kind of get through this together.
Okay.
And I know that everyone is so very anxious to hear about Joe. How did you get and started in real estate?
Something I kind of pushed myself into back in 2012. I was worked in the motorcycle business prior to going into real estate. I've done a lot of things. I've been in the grocery business. I did a little construction. Never really found my niche. It seems like I would have a job or what I thought would be a career, and then I would get laid off. Either in the motorcycle business, things kind of change rapidly, and in 2008, I lost my job and the economy crashed, um, so I kind of I was a service manager and for a big dealership in Orange County, and then I went back to being a technician for a little bit and realized that wasn't really going to cut it around here anymore, and needed to do something different. And I'd grown up with a friend whose mother was our neighborhood agent, and I remember just watching her walk around the neighborhood and drop her notepads and things. And he had become an agent himself, in his early 20s, and he kind of gave up his independent lifestyle and decided to go into real estate, and they did pretty good. So I thought, what the heck, I might as well give it a shot. I guess I can't do any worse than what I'm doing now, and if anything, I could do better. So got into that, and then just really, I was working two jobs when I started in real estate, and would do real estate in the mornings and on the weekends, and just trying to get that connection to be able to walk away from my current job at the time, and just worked at like a regular 9 to 5 job, trying to have stay on a schedule of having a dedicated time frames for things. And so that's what I did. I started handing out flyers. I had a business development manager, and he kind of gave me an idea of what to do to try to get business as a new agent. So I took his advice and did open houses, went after expired listings, and actually caught a couple and put them on the market, and was able to eventually walk away from my old job and then go full speed at this. So that's kind of it. I got lucky.
Very nice. Well,
Mhm.
no, you know what? You just mentioned a couple things that like ring so true, that you took advice from, you had like, did you say it was management?
A business
Um,
development manager, yeah.
and you were able to kind of tap into his knowledge and use
Mhm.
it to your benefit.
Right.
That's huge. That's so smart. That's something that after so many years in the industry, we learn. You can still continue to learn from people,
Mhm.
and like you said, tap into the resources that you have around that. That's huge. That's super smart. So let me ask you this: having those 9 to 5s, how did it prepare you for structuring your real estate business? Because, as we know, we don't punch a clock, but yet you need to be time blocked and consistent and on
Yeah.
a schedule. Do you feel that that helped you develop all of those skills?
It definitely, yeah, it definitely refined them. I've always been pretty disciplined. Um, but when I look back, I often say to myself that I think all those things that happened in the past, all the different jobs I've had, I was in the grocery business when I was really young. So that's kind of where I started out. So very customer forward, very customer friendly, very service oriented. Running a service department. Just when people have their vehicles in your shop, it's kind of like what we deal with. They're waiting to hear from you. They're waiting to interact with you, and you have to connect with them regularly, and you can't leave them out there hanging in the dark, and or they're going to call you and they're going to be upset. So, you have to, one of my managers once said, it's like we're air traffic controllers, and these are airplanes out there. And if you don't communicate, they're going to crash. So every couple of days I develop systems to reach out to people and just say, even just to say hello, even if there's no news, just to let them know I didn't forget about them. And yeah, I think back that all those jobs I had in the past kind of trained me for this, and taught me the things I need to be dedicated and kind of, tough on myself to stick with the program. So yeah, and then I was able to just look at it like it's a job. It's tough in this business because we're our own bosses, and we like to hang around and take long lunches and take half the day off, and if we don't hold ourselves accountable and give ourselves things to do, time slotted, daily, we tend to just kind of forget about those things, I think, and we can get overwhelmed too, and if we don't take time off, we can burn ourselves out. So knowing that, yeah, developing those skills and just basically blocking out 5 days a week for it, and just trying to focus and write down different things, different ways to attract business, and then following up pretty much.
I agree with you 100%. It's having that customer, the desire to help the customer, to take care of the customer. That's what brings us so much business, those repeats, those referrals. And then, like you said, is being consistent, following up, following up, following up. So do you feel that, are you good at the time blocking and being consistent about your schedule?
I was really good. Yeah, we get busy. We sometimes we get so good, or the market gets so good, or we get to that time of the year where things kind of just start happening, which is really fun. I wish it was like that all the time. The end goal is where our phone just rings and we just answer it and help people and close
Yes.
deals, right? But there's a tug and a pull with that, and there's good times and bad times. So yeah, you have to stick to that and remember that's how you got to where you are. And sometimes you feel like, the wheels aren't turning and you're trying everything you can, but I always like to think, stay consistent. Don't forget the little things turn into big things, and just focus on those things and keep at them. The little phone calls, the little notes, the little,
Amen to that.
emails, just saying hello, uh, and not always,
Staying top of mind.
yeah, and not always going right to real estate, just checking with people, see how they're doing. And yeah, so yeah, I do, when the market gets slow, like it's been a little different lately, and then we went through COVID, and um we weren't able to do a lot of the things that we were doing before as aggressively, I don't think. And
Right.
people would be a little reluctant to even go out and look at homes, or even spend that kind of time. So yeah, so I think just reading the room and seeing what's going on, but yeah, trying to get back to that schedule. And right now, again, with a 2-year-old, having to just constantly change, and it actually really helps me to make the most of my time again, because you don't have as much time to waste, I guess. So you really make sure that the time you have does count. So
You know,
trying to stay on some sort of what are the best things I can do today that can bring me business, is kind of the frame of mind. Try to prioritize those. And is it calling past clients? Is it going after new business? Is it trying to get open houses for the weekend? Any way to get in front of people. And so yeah, I do need to tidy up a little bit, but I'm getting there.
I think that's something I definitely struggle with, is that consistency. When you said consistency,
Mhm,
that's like my trigger word, because, like you said, different business comes at us different every day. It's something different.
mhm,
And we don't have that same thing every single day. So it really falls upon us. I think that's something that I find a challenge, is to stay consistent with our lead follow-up,
mhm.
reaching out to our past clients, like you said, making the phone calls, sending the note cards. Those are the things that we have to continue to do, even when we get really busy, like you said, the really fun times, because that's what's going to keep those going. Because those really great times when we're busy and we've got business, we stop doing that. And then when those close, it's like, wah, 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 and we got to
Right.
start again. So it's trying desperately to be consistent about the lead follow-up, and every type of lead follow-up, like you mentioned, the calls and the notes and everything like that. And now with the baby, it's kind of super cool, because, you know, that time is so important. I feel like, yeah, if we say, yeah, we could work 7 days a week, we could do a little bit of everything every day. But if we say, no, I've got to spend
Mm,
time with my family, or, whether it's your hobbies or whatever it is, we really are able to zero in and really focus on what we're doing when we are running our real estate business. So I agree 100% with everything that you've been saying. So tell us a little bit about what brought you over to Keller Williams. How long have you been over with Keller Williams now?
can't be more than a few months, I don't think.
Very
So
nice.
yeah, just I moved
So
here.
welcome is still in place. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just, I'm aware of Keller Williams and, their business model, and, I've read Gary Keller's book, and, I think he has a good vision, a good business model, and I like how the things that they offer to their agents, things that I've heard, and I know some of the other agents that I used to work with that have come over, so it seems like they're a well-known brand. There's a lot of the, offices out and about, so they're not unknown. But yeah, more because I came out to the South Bay, moved out here recently, and really needed to feel at home. It's difficult. At least for me, it was, just trying to feel like I had a home base, where I could, network with local agents and local people, and try to build a business out here, and along with my business out in Orange County. Um, and the office being right around the corner from my house was just a no-brainer, just to, go check it out, and make the switch. So good
Very
so
nice.
far. Yeah, very happy.
Well, you are absolutely, I mean, like spot on. You have a family here, you have a community supporting you. That's one of the things I most love about Keller Williams. I remember when I started in the industry, my aunt has been a real estate agent in Florida for decades. She's on
Okay.
her way into retirement now. And she told me when I started, she said, be very careful. Real estate is cutthroat. You leave a
Hmm.
phone number on a desk somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so I came in, thinking I got to watch my back. I got to be careful. I sat down day one and people started coming up to me and they're like, hey, welcome. Have you ordered your signs? Because this place is having a sale. And have you ordered your business cards? Because, I get them from here. And I'm like, why is everybody so
Yeah,
nice?
what's the catch?
Exactly. And here we are 15 years later and there's still no catch. So
Hmm.
it's just Keller Williams and it's just the culture.
Hmm.
And so welcome, and we're very glad that you're
Thank
here.
you.
And so you have been different with different companies. You've been in the business for over 10 years now.
Hmm.
What would you go back and say to yourself when you started real estate? What would you, do differently, and what would you have said to yourself at that time?
Um, I don't know. I did quite a bit. So I think I did everything I was supposed to do. One thing I have a problem with, I've always personally had a problem with, even when I've been in management, is allocating work. I tend to just like to just do it myself. If something needs to be done, just get it done. But then I tend to overburden myself. So um, I think in this business, if you want to just go to the extreme, when you get really busy, you're supposed to start team building and allocating work, and you're supposed to, start bringing people on, and that can sound a little scary sometimes. Sometimes people, they think of that and go, "Wow, that could make me a team leader, then a lot more responsibility." And I don't know if I'm ready for that. And then also just maybe, I don't want to call it greed, but just, I like to hold on to my own stuff, and you start seeing part of your business kind of get away from you. And so I'd probably say, learn to trust, the process, and that's a phrase I use quite often, to my clients, who are nervous about the process, and they don't, you sometimes get clients who try to do their own thing, and they read stuff online, and it starts to kind of interact and interfere with what you're trying to do for them. But trust the processes, pay more attention to your business manager, maybe a little more, because another problem is when we do get really busy, we're supposed to actually keep going and keep reinvesting, and not take a breath and step back. And sometimes you've sort of exhausted yourself just trying to get that business you have, and then naturally you want to pull back a little bit and take a breath and a break. But that's the time where you need to throw it all back at it, and leverage what you have, and try to build it into something more. So maybe just a little bit of that, a little bit more control over that. I mean, that's not probably necessarily something that happens right away when you're new, but um, I'd say um, I'd say I don't have a whole lot of regrets. I was able to achieve quite a bit in a short amount of time, and step away from my old job and start getting business. So yeah, but learning a little bit more about that time management, I guess, would be something.
Yeah, and just like you said, leverage, leverage, leverage. I
Mhm.
know my husband and my partner Freddie is probably sitting somewhere laughing at me because I need to work heavily on leveraging
Mhm.
as well. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be greed. It's your baby, it's your business. These are your clients. You
Mhm.
want to take care of them and everything that surrounds that. You know, it's your name
Right.
out there, and you want to make sure that it's representing you and your business. But yes, 100% we need to learn to leverage those little things. We have so many resources like awesome TCs and admin and things like that, and that they will help us then to grow our businesses.
Mhm.
So I agree 100%. So I don't know, maybe we can hear from the peanut gallery and kind of does anybody out there have any questions for Joe in his infinite wisdom
Mhm.
after so many years in the real estate business? I mean, he's made one of his best decisions lately to join Keller Williams.
Welcome, Joe. We're
Hello.
happy to have you. I have a question. What is your take on marketing and um, what kind of marketing or social media do you do and find effective?
I'm kind of old school. And that was something I did want to touch on is, we get a lot of stuff thrown at us in this business. Our emails get bombarded with the latest and greatest marketing gimmick. Whether it's going to meetings all day long or trainings. I mean, we could just burn ourselves out, and I've seen new agents do that where they're in the office all day long and they're never out in the field, and nobody's lining up at the front door of the office to hire us. So I try to just be old school, connect with people, talk to people. Whether it's I was a door knocker in the beginning. I did a lot of that. um, I don't do it so much nowadays. I still do it, but it doesn't seem like it's as well received. And I see it starting to see a lot more no soliciting signs. So I don't know if it's the solar companies or the people selling stuff otherwise that are giving us a bad rap. But um, yeah, just trying to. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Just what kind of marketing do you
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I was
use?
getting off the rails there. Marketing. So um, I do like door hangers, or I'll get like a flyer. I don't like to just go. I have a farm. I've been working a farm for about 10 years, so my name is known in a certain neighborhood. So I don't believe in just blasting stuff out randomly. You could spend a lot of money that way and waste a lot of money, and you have to kind of get yourself known. So, but in that farm, I do regular notepad drops. I'll try to do some promotional items once a year, whether it's, can koozies or pins or something that sticks around and stays in somebody's house with your name on it. Um, Flyers, just the market updates, staple my business card and drop them on the door. And then when I have a listing, I always do like a just listed and just sold postcard in the mail. And then I might even follow up with like a flyer, like I just sold with a market update. At open houses, I'm always trying to give away stuff, just give stuff away. Let somebody go home with something with your name on it that they might not throw away immediately. So yeah, that's really it. As far as Facebook, I don't go too heavily on Facebook or the social media. I find it gets redundant and a lot of people are doing it. I mean, even I get burned out when I see it happening and coming across my desk so much. And I can always tell when a bunch of agents have been to a conference or something, and maybe the guy giving the conference or the girl told them to do something on social media, because all of a sudden I see the same message by multiple agents going across the social media platforms, and it's usually something to try to grab somebody's attention and get someone to interact. Um, and that's fine. I just don't do it too much. I have had a little success on social media. It comes in the weirdest ways sometimes. I mean, I met somebody selling something on, I think, Craigslist once, or I was giving something away, and some girl came to my house and picked up something, and then I told her I was an agent, and then I sold her house and sold them a home, and now I'm helping their friend. So just marketing yourself, telling people what you do, handing out a business card is simple. And just not being too pushy. I guess people don't like that, but yeah, I just try to interact with people, talk to people, and not be too pushy, I guess. And then the mailings, and I did get recently, somebody didn't like the fact that I left a door hanger on their door. That happens every now and then, so you get a nice email from them. You just apologize and tell them you won't do it again, but that's it, really. Nothing too fancy.
I think that you hit on, again, some really good things, because going back to old school, there's
Mhm.
something to be said for that. There's something to be said, and for that repetition, something that they can take home that has your information on it, that they won't necessarily, throw away right away. Like, somebody comes to an open house, they get your flyer,
Mhm.
that's more likely to end up in the trash a lot sooner than a pen, a
Right.
notepad, like you said. And yeah, it's funny because we've gone so social media, and it's so easy to sit behind a computer and put this information out there. But it's good to come back to the quote unquote old school and get in front of people. And
Right.
and the other thing that you mentioned, I remember a long time ago, someone said, don't be a secret agent.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every opportunity that you have, something so random like selling something on Craigslist,
Mhm.
let them know that you're an agent, slide it into the conversation. Don't be a secret agent. I
Right.
remember going to those PTA meetings, because of course I was on the board when my kids were at school and stuff like that, and wearing your what was our nameplates back in
Mhm.
the day. I don't know that anyone wears those
I still
anymore. I
wear
think I've
mine.
got
I
mine
still wear
buried
it.
somewhere.
Yeah, still do it.
Yeah, but it strikes up a conversation. People see it. Oh, did I forget to take that off? Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And again, don't be a secret agent. Let's see, we've actually got a couple of questions in the chat. So
Okay.
Christine is, first of all, saying welcome. And
Thank
is
you.
there anything that you've learned from working with other companies that you feel made an impression on you or your business?
Other companies other than real estate?
Maybe it was the other real estate companies, maybe it was the other industries that we're in, that you were able to learn there and really develop in your real estate business.
Actually,
Yeah.
I was more thinking if you were positioned, like, because I thought I understood that you worked with other realty companies as well before coming to
Yes.
Keller Williams. So
Yes.
it's more from other
Thank you, Christine.
company. Thank
Thank
Okay.
you.
you.
The impression was, I mean, you're all kind of friends, but you're all kind of working independently of one another, I guess, maybe a little in competition with one another. I've worked with some very competitive agents. Some offices, you have to be tight-lipped about your up and coming work. So, there are certain people that you learn to trust and not trust. And I just found again recently, one of the girls I used to work with, she has a lot of her vendors on the take, where if you call them over to, like a stager or a photographer, they're going to report back to her that you have something coming.
Wow.
So you learn, I mean, you learn to work with everybody. You're in this for the long haul. You're supposed to, in reality, respect one another and share work. And I don't ever like to think of myself as somebody who hoards business, or I wouldn't call myself somebody who tries to intentionally double in work all the time. I don't try to avoid other agents from having an opportunity to represent somebody in one of my transactions, but just being respectful and acknowledging that the shoe's worn on both feet. It's, sometimes you're working with buyers, sometimes you're working with sellers, and you need to show respect on both avenues, because it'll come back to you if you don't. And then just being in a very competitive office, it does put pressure on you. And the one I was at before, they had a big leaderboard all the time, and top listings of the week, of the month. And I always wanted to be there. You want to be there, and so it makes you work harder. And then it's funny, because there's times when you're doing really good, and I've always said this is like a business of highs and lows, because when you're doing really good, you just feel great, when everything's clicking, and then you could have the rug pulled up right out from underneath you in a moment's notice, and all of a sudden you're in the dumps and you go into the office and your name's not on the board anymore. But I've come to find that it's just a timing issue. Sometimes you're doing really good and other people aren't, and then sometimes they're doing really good and you're not. And you get busy, you'll close a couple deals, and then your prospecting backs away, and then you have to go get that again. It takes a few months. Some people say we're on a 3-month pay plan from the time you sign a contract. You have to market and close escrow, and it takes about 3 months from the time you get a deal to get paid. So we don't want to be on a 3-month pay plan. We want to be on a monthly pay plan if we could. A weekly pay plan would be great, but so learning, just keeping those things in mind, just kind of maturing a lot. Actually, there's a lot of maturing that goes on in this business of managing your expectations and your emotions. I think realizing that sometimes when you feel like there's no hope, when you look around and there's not a lot of inventory, and you have to believe in yourself, and just believe the work you're doing. Again, go back to the basics, go back to the simple things. Don't get all wrapped up in the wasting a lot of time doing useless things, and then just believing that it will eventually work, I guess. And that's one of the most important things I've learned.
Very nice. Thank you, Joe. I think that we have maybe our last question, our wrap-up question, which I would love to hear as well, is when you're going out there to listings, when you're talking to homeowners, maybe when you're door knocking, do you have 1 or 2 favorite scripts when you're door knocking and you're going and you're talking to homeowners?
No, I try not to do too many scripts. Actually, it's really just a hi, how you doing? I'm sorry to bother you today. I'm Joe with Keller Williams, if they don't already know me, and then just thought I'd drop by a market report, and then see where it goes from there. If the door gets slammed on my face, have a nice day. If they ask about the market or say, hey, how you doing? And we just kind of go into a regular conversation. And at the very end, I might just say, oh, by the way, have you guys thought about, making a move this year? If not, anybody you can think of who I might be able to offer my services to in the near future. And that's usually it. Not pushy, just try to keep it real friendly, and then just slide in the real estate at the end. But nobody first thing people, people knock on my door and you're like, oh brother, who's this? And I like to tell people, if the solar guys are out there knocking on doors, there's no reason we shouldn't be out there in the neighborhoods. But yeah, just trying to keep it just real casual, I found that that's the best. When you're new, you're thinking scripts, you're thinking, what do I say to these people? And you kind of have this, I don't know if it's kind of pushed into our heads that if you say the right thing to somebody, you'll force them to sell, and if you don't, then there's something wrong with you, like you didn't say it the right way. And you come to find after a while that I'm not really looking to force somebody to sell their home, and I don't think you can force anybody to sell their home unless there are some people who aren't really aware of the market, and you tell them, wow, your home's worth $1 million, great. But you tend to just find a little hook maybe for people who are thinking about selling, whether it's now or in the near future, and then you culture that relationship and you work it. And yeah, you're not gonna, for somebody who's comfortable where they're at and they have family here and they're staying for a long time, it's going to take a lot to get them to want to sell their home, I think, unless you can promise them the world. So yeah, not really doing scripts, just reading the room, reading people, and always just letting them know that they can call me if they have any questions. Really, basically that's it.
Nice.
And yeah,
You're more from the heart, off the cuff, more organic kind of thing.
right.
And that's what works for Joe, and it's worked for Joe for a while. Very cool. Well, sir, I think our time is almost up, and we thank you so very much for your time, for your insight, for your experience, and we thank everybody for logging on this Friday morning. And now it's going to be a phenomenal weekend, that we're just going to have an amazing amount of business, and it's just going to be fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Kim. And thank you everyone for showing up.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Bye-bye.